The college entrance exam was over, and I scored over 700 points, but then, my mother opened my admission file. Little did she know, it was actually my younger brother's file she had opened. In my past life, my mother blamed me for not helping my brother cheat during the exam, which she said cost him his chance at an education. So she deliberately opened my file folder and posted the video of me losing my temper online. She tearfully claimed it was an accident, while painting me as a heartless, ungrateful daughter. In the end, overwhelmed by pressure from all sides, I got into a car accident in a daze. When I woke up, I found I had gone back to 1 week before the college entrance exams. This time, I'll make sure they get a taste of their own medicine. 1. The Gaokao results are out. I only scored a little over 660 points. My score was a full 30 points lower than my average from the previous mock exams, because a week before the exam, when my mom found out my brother and I had been assigned seats directly in front of and behind each other in the same exam hall, she was overjoyed. Lyra, this is a stroke of luck from heaven. Heaven wants Tyler to get an education. You absolutely must let your brother copy from your paper. Facing my mother's earnest gaze, my heart ached with a sense of helplessness. My brother Tyler was spoiled rotten by our elders from a young age. At school, he did whatever he wanted. He was a total troublemaker and his grades were consistently at the bottom of the class. If he took the college entrance exam on his own merit, he'd have no chance of getting into any university. Mom, this is the college entrance exam, not some regular test. If Tyler cheats, it's unfair to everyone else. But my mom couldn't have cared less. What do we care about everyone else? You're Tyler's sister. Shouldn't you be looking out for your brother instead of worrying about other people? But if we get caught cheating, we'll both get a 0, and Tyler could even get a permanent record. That gave my mom pause. I knew she was only worried about Tyler getting a record, not about whether helping him cheat would ruin my own future. After all, no matter how good my grades were, I never got any praise from them. They call me a waste of money, saying all that education was useless. Meanwhile, Tyler was the one who got arrested 2 years ago for beating someone so badly they ended up in the hospital. Mom and Dad spent a fortune back then to hush the whole thing up. They couldn't bear the thought of their precious son having a stain on his record. I've been completely disillusioned with this family for a long time. I just want to get through the college entrance exams in peace. Once I'm in university, I can finally get away from this place. Then, I'll have a brand new life. I was lost in thought when Tyler kicked me in the calf. If you don't want to let me copy, just say so. Don't give me that holier-than-thou crap. You think I'm scared of getting hauled in by the cops? I gasped in pain, but my mom just gave Tyler an angry swat. Don't talk such nonsense. You're not going to any police station. Then, she turned her head to me, ignoring the tears of pain in my eyes, and said, Lyra, you're such a good student. You'll have plenty of time left after finishing the exam. Write the answers on a scrap of paper and pass them to your brother. That way, even if we got caught, as long as Tyler insisted he knew nothing about it, all the blame would fall on me. My mother had it all figured out, too, even though I was already disappointed in her. Hearing those words still made my heart ache involuntarily. I couldn't believe it. My voice trembling with tears, I confronted her. Mom, is Tyler's life a life? But mine isn't. Does my future mean nothing at all? My mom was startled by my sudden outburst. Tyler stepped forward and shoved me. What are you yelling for? I stumbled from the push, turned around, and went back to my room, unwilling to say another word to them. For the next few days, I didn't speak a word at home. Tyler, for his part, couldn't be bothered with me either, but Mom and Dad seemed to realize their mistake. They never brought up making me copy Tyler's test papers again, and would quietly bring in a plate of cut fruit while I was studying. Just when I thought the whole thing was over, on the night before the college entrance exam, my mom suddenly walked into my room and knelt right down in front of me. Behind her trailed my father and a visibly reluctant Tyler. My mother was on her knees, sobbing as she clung to my leg. Lyra, your father and I have never asked you for anything your whole life. But I'm begging you now, just this once, you have to save Tyler. Then, forced down by my father, Tyler knelt reluctantly as well. He glared up at me, his words hissing through clenched teeth. Come on, sis, just let me copy your answers. Well, this is a rare sight. I could probably count on one hand the number of times Tyler has ever called me sis in my entire life. But I still have my principles. Mom, I really can't help Tyler cheat. When she saw I wouldn't agree, my mother let go of my leg and began banging her head against the floor. No matter how hard I tried to stop her, I couldn't. Mom, what are you doing?" She was hitting the floor with such force that her forehead was soon bleeding. My heart finally gave way, and I relented with a weary sigh. "Fine, I can shift my paper to the side a bit after I'm done, but I am absolutely not passing him any cheat notes. Whether he can see it or not is up to him." 3. On the day of the college entrance exam, I sat in the exam hall with a dull headache from a sleepless night, which made me work through the test much slower than usual. To make matters worse, Tyler behind me kept seizing every chance to kick my chair, fraying my nerves, but remembering the promise I made to my parents the night before, I had no choice but to lean slightly to the side, letting Tyler see my paper. Having never cheated before, I was always on edge, terrified the teacher would catch me. Thankfully, the 2 days passed without incident. Back in the classroom, small groups of classmates were huddled together, discussing where to go to celebrate that evening. The classmate in front of me turned around with a warm invitation. "Lyra, we're going for a group dinner tonight. You should come." "No, thanks," I said with an awkward smile. "You guys have fun." She turned away, disappointed. "All right then." I could faintly hear the conversation from up ahead. "Why did you even ask her? She's that aloof, top student type. She wouldn't stoop to hanging out with us. What a waste of time calling out to her." I pretended not to hear, lowering my head to hide behind my schoolwork, only to find my desk completely bare. Honestly, I didn't want to be the odd one out either. I wanted to hang out with everyone too. At first, they'd always invite me when there was an activity, but I never had a cent to my name, so I had to turn them down every single time. Over time, people just stopped calling for me. Actually, our family wasn't short of money. We weren't rich, but we never had to worry about food or clothing. But Mom and Dad said it wasn't safe for a girl to carry money, and that I should just tell them what I wanted and they'd buy it for me. But I wanted to go to the amusement park. Dad said it was too dangerous and not a suitable place for a girl. And then one day, they left me at home alone while I was sick and took Tyler with them. My school uniform was worn out and I wanted a new one, but Mom said we didn't have that kind of money to waste on me, and that the old one could still be worn if mended. Then that very evening, Dad came home with the pair of shoes Tyler had been wanting. I secretly looked it up. Those shoes cost over $600. Tyler and I are actually fraternal twins, born on the exact same day, on my birthday. I wanted a princess cake, but because of something Tyler said, Mom and Dad bought the Ultraman cake next to it, which was $100 more expensive, and they even scolded me, saying, "You look so miserable even when you get the expensive one. You're so spoiled." Yeah, I'm just so terribly spoiled, so I stopped asking them for anything. They're not so bad, really. At least they're letting me go to school, right? I told myself, once I get into university, everything will be better. 4. I had just gotten home from school and pushed the door open when someone slapped me hard across the face. My back slammed into the doorframe, the pain sharp and immediate. "You ungrateful brat, I begged you." I got down on my knees and begged. "What's the big deal about letting your brother copy your work?" The one who slapped me was my father, and the woman behind him, pointing at me and screaming in a rage, was my mother. I looked at Tyler, lounging on the sofa and eating grapes without a care, and asked them in a trembling voice, "Did he tell you I didn't let him copy?" My mother was so furious she looked ready to tear me apart. "He said you little bitch shielded your test paper completely. You didn't let him see a thing. He couldn't copy anything." I didn't know when it started, but tears were streaming down my face. "That's a lie. I let him copy in every single subject." Seeing this, my mother lunged at me again to hit me. "Are you saying Tyler would lie to us? He even waited until after the exams to tell us, just so our anger wouldn't affect your performance. He's such a good kid. You both came from my womb. How did I end up with a lying little monster like you?" My heart grew colder with each of my mother's words. With a kind of reckless abandon, I spoke up. "That's right, I hid it from him on purpose. With his grades, what kind of college could he even get into? You people." Smack. My father slapped me hard across the face again. I swallowed the metallic taste in my mouth, grinned, and looked up, about to say something more, when I saw my mother come out of the inner room holding something. "That's my student file." Our school returned the student files to us a few days before the college entrance exams, so we could take them to university ourselves. Our teacher had warned us repeatedly, under no circumstances were we to open that file. I had carefully placed the file in my bedroom cabinet, but now my mother was holding it in her hand. "Mom, what are you doing?" I was genuinely panicking this time, even starting to regret the words I'd blurted out in anger. I was crying my eyes out, begging my mom for forgiveness. "Mom, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I let Tyler copy off me. I really did. I gave him the answers. Please, just give me back my file. I'm begging you." My mom remained completely unmoved by my tears. She glared at me with venom in her eyes. "You ungrateful brat. We've slaved away to put you through school, and you have the nerve to ruin your brother's chance at an education. Fine, then you won't be going to school either." As she spoke, she ripped open my file folder. My father held me down, and no matter how desperately I struggled, it was already too late. 5. After looking up ways to salvage my records online, I spent the following period of time running all over town trying to get my documents reissued. It's incredibly difficult to get a replacement for my file. I've been running all over town from dawn till dusk, pleading with so many people. I had no time to go online and hardly any friends. In the end, it was my teacher who reached out and told me to check the trending topics. That's when I opened Weibo and saw the hashtag Mom Opens Daughter's File, sitting right at the top of the hot search list. I clicked on it, and a video was pinned at the top, in the background of the video. You can hear my mother sobbing and apologizing, saying she didn't mean to do it. The scene shows me shoving my mother while holding the torn open file folder. My father and Tyler are trying to hold me back, but I'm screaming hysterically for them to get away. Then, it cuts to my mother on her knees, clutching my leg and crying, banging her head hard against the floor until it bled. I clicked to open the comments section, even though it was a stupid move for the mom to open the file. She said it was an accident and even got down on her knees to kowtow. "I think the daughter is taking it too far. Yeah, you can replace a torn file folder, but being that cold to the mother who raised you, that's something else." Whoa, she's bleeding from that hit. It hurts me just to look at it. What an ungrateful child she turned out to be. With that kind of cold-blooded behavior, she might just be rotten to the core. The type to poison a roommate over a minor argument, honestly. Her not going to college is a blessing for her future roommates. I go to the same school as her. She's always been super aloof and cold, like a studying machine with no personality. I stared at it all, numb and unblinking, until the delayed sting in my eyes finally brought forth tears. Tyler pushed my door open, leaning lazily against the frame with a wild grin. "So, sis, how do you like my little gift?" 6. I fought back the overwhelming urge to go over there and beat him to a pulp. Tyler's been a fighter since he was a kid, and he's got the size to back it up. If we got into it, I'd be the one getting hurt. I asked him, "Do you hate me that much? Do you want to ruin me?" He just laughed. "I don't hate you. You've got nothing but your grades. Mom and Dad don't even love you. They saw the video I edited. You know, Mom even did the voiceover for it." "Oh, right. The results came out today. You haven't checked yet, have you?" "Thanks to you, I scored over 500. After saying that, Tyler turned and walked away. It was only then that I remembered. Today was the day the results were released. If none of this had happened, today would have been the most nerve-wracking and exciting day for me. Yet now, I calmly opened the website and logged in, seeing that I had only scored a little over 660 points. I wasn't the least bit surprised. My state during those 2 days of the college entrance exam was terrible. The whole time I was taking the tests, my mind was preoccupied with being careful not to let the teacher find out. Stepping out of my room, I saw my parents sitting cheerfully on the sofa, discussing where to go for a big celebratory meal. They paused when they saw me come out. Then, my mom asked with concern, "How did Lyra do on the exam?" I scoffed and asked them, "Do you still think Tyler was telling the truth?" My mom was taken aback and muttered, "Tyler is an honest kid. He wouldn't lie." My dad shot me an even angrier glare. "If you had just let Tyler take a peek, he might have scored even higher." I couldn't believe my ears. "Are you seriously telling me Tyler scored over 500 on his own merit? He only got 200 on his last mock exam." My mother shot me a glare. "Our son is exceptionally gifted. If even you could get good grades, how could Tyler possibly be bad? We have superior genes. He just put in a little more effort for the college entrance exam and scored over 500. Clinging to a final shred of hope, I asked, "Do you even know about the maliciously edited video of Tyler that was posted online?" I was dragged to the top of the trending list because of it. At that, both my parents fell silent, watching them guiltily turn their faces away. I felt my heart grow cold. Of course, for all I know, they might have even handed the surveillance footage to Tyler themselves. After all, I never even knew there were security cameras installed at home. My mind was a jumbled mess, and my only thought was to escape this suffocating house. Stepping outside, the sight of the clear blue sky and white clouds made me want to cry. Yet, I couldn't think of a single person I could turn to and pour my heart out to, walking down the street in a daze. A car speeding around the corner slammed right into me. Lying on the ground, my vision began to blur, and a searing pain shot through my entire body. My final thought was simply, thank God this whole miserable ordeal is finally over. 7. I felt myself gently lifting, floating upwards. I saw my mom and dad running towards my body, tears streaming down their faces. They wept with such profound sorrow, as if they truly loved me. I saw them declare in anger that the person who hit me must pay. Yet I also saw the wealthy driver simply hand over $1 million to silence them. With that $1 million, they built a better life, and Tyler, as they had hoped, went off to college. They forgot about me soon enough. They said, at least we still have a son. They said, if Lyra's spirit is watching, she'd be at peace. Her death wasn't in vain. It was for $1 million. After all, at peace, all I feel is hatred, a hatred that makes my heart bleed. How pathetic, in their eyes, my life is only worth $1 million. 8. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in my familiar room. I could hear Mom and Tyler talking outside. Mom's voice was brimming with excitement. Are you serious? You and Lyra are in the same exam hall, and you're sitting right in front of her. Tyler replied with a hint of impatience. Of course I'm serious. I managed to get it out of her. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. If you can just get your sister to let you copy a bit. With her grades, you'll easily get into a top-tier university. Tyler grunted in agreement. That's what I was thinking. Mom, can you talk to her for me? My mom thumped her chest and assured me, of course she will. She's your own sister. She'd never turn her back on you. Then, I heard the faint, shuffling sound of footsteps approaching my room before they came to a stop right outside my door. Knock, knock, knock. The door was knocked on, and I pretended to have just woken up, rubbing my eyes as I opened it. Mom, what's up so late? My mom's face was beaming with joy as she said to me, Lyra, honey, I need to ask you a favor. You and your brother got assigned to the same exam hall, sitting right in front of each other, didn't you? I replied, yeah, why, what's the matter? Well, could you let Tyler copy off your paper? Lyra, this is a stroke of luck from heaven. Heaven wants Tyler to get an education. You absolutely must let your brother copy your answers. Hearing my mother repeat the same lines as in my past life, I felt a sense of numbness. Following the same script as before, I said, Mom, this is the college entrance exam, not some regular test. If Tyler cheats, it's unfair to everyone else. As expected, everything unfolded exactly as it had in my previous life. The only difference was that when my mother finished trying to persuade me, I agreed with her right away. They seemed taken aback that I had given in so easily, and for a moment, they were just stunned. I couldn't help but find the whole ridiculous scene rather amusing, so I repeated myself, of course I can, I'm Tyler's own sister. If I don't help him, who will? My mother was overjoyed and hugged me tightly. I'm so glad you feel that way. All my love for you wasn't in vain. 9. Since I agreed so quickly this time, I haven't been getting the usual fruit platter and attentive service I enjoyed in my past life these past few days. But that's alright, I'll just have to go and get it myself. In our family, everyone has their usual spot at the dinner table. Mom always used to put the meat dishes near Tyler, while my side of the table was just a sea of green vegetables. Today, I had the nerve to plop myself down in Tyler's seat before he even arrived. My mom's eyes went wide as she asked, Lyra, what on earth are you doing? I answered as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Having dinner. My mom stammered. I know, honey, but isn't this Tyler's usual spot? I just went. Oh, come on, any seat's fine. I just want to eat better to get more nutrients. Gotta be in top form for the gaokao. You know, my dad started to say something else, but in the end, they were all convinced by my one little argument. Besides, the better I do, the more correct answers Tyler can copy. Who knows, he might even get into a 985 or 211 university. So when Tyler walked into the living room, he found me sitting in his spot, bold as brass. While Mom and Dad just pretended not to see a thing, he charged over in a rage, trying to shove me aside, but my father stopped him. Tyler, stop messing around. Tyler was stunned that Dad would actually raise his voice at him for my sake. Dad, Mom, what are you doing? Why does she get to sit in my spot? I took a bite of the braised pork belly, and its aroma seemed even richer than usual. This seat doesn't have your name on it. Why can't I sit here? Tyler's eyes blazed with anger. You have no right to sit here, you brat. Women shouldn't even be at the table. That remark made my mother's face darken. The memory of her own harsh treatment as a child flashed before her eyes, and her expression darkened. Tyler, what on earth are you saying? Tyler finally caught on, but he didn't care if he'd hit a nerve. He kept on shouting, what's wrong with what I said? Mom, you're always calling her a useless burden too. My mother's hand rose and then fell. In the end, she couldn't bring herself to strike her son. She put down her chopsticks, turned away, and went back to her room, wiping tears from her eyes. My dad glanced back casually, not saying a word about my mom's departure. He just lowered the hand that was blocking Tyler and said, stop fooling around with your sister. You have exams coming up in a few days. Hearing the word, exams, Tyler finally remembered why our parents had suddenly been so nice to me. He gave me a smug look and said, right, you've got to fatten the pig before you slaughter it. I'll let you have your way for a few more days, you little brat. I just smiled back at him, picked up the plate, and scraped all the meat on the table into my own bowl. Better eat my fill now. Once the exams are over, I won't get another chance like this. Tyler clearly hadn't expected me to leave him nothing. He looked up and shot me a glare that promised I'd be dead meat once the exams were finished. The meal ended on a sour note. Faced with a table full of vegetarian dishes, my dad only took a few bites before leaving. Tyler had already slammed his chopsticks down and stormed off even earlier. I was the only one who enjoyed the best, and most satisfying meal I'd had in over a decade. 10. This is just the beginning. My room is the smallest in the house, converted from a storage space. As my parents put it, I should be grateful they gave me a room of my own. There are plenty of kids out there without a home at all. I used to be content with my lot, even though my room was freezing in winter, sweltering in summer, had no air conditioning, was dark and damp, and never saw a ray of sunshine all year round. At least I had a home, but now, I've had enough. At 2 in the morning, I pounded on my parents' bedroom door. I cried out, Mom, Dad, I'm so scared, I can't sleep. My parents, woken by the noise, came over and opened the door, looking rather annoyed. What's all this racket in the middle of the night? Seeing them, I wailed even louder, Wah, there's a mouse in my room, and it's like 34 degrees outside. It's so hot I can't possibly sleep. Wah. My mother pushed the door partly shut, blocking the cold air wafting from the room, and said with a straight face, oh. Who isn't hot during the dog days of summer? Just tough it out a little longer. After saying that, she walked to the living room, rummaged through a cabinet, pulled out a bottle of rat poison, and handed it to me with a yawn. Take this and sprinkle some in your room, it works wonders. I stared at the bottle of rat poison, momentarily stunned. I had seen this bottle of rat poison before, when I was a child. Our village was overrun with mice. My parents couldn't bring themselves to spend money on poison, so they just let the rodents scurry about. They kept saying they'd wait for a neighbor's cat to have kittens, so they could take a few to deal with the mice, but year after year, they talked about it without ever taking action. Then one day, on my way home from school, I came across a little orange kitten. The little orange kitten meowed incessantly the moment it saw me, remembering my parents' words about keeping a cat to catch mice. I carefully picked up the little orange kitten and brought it home. My parents weren't exactly thrilled about the kitten's arrival. I still remember my father frowning and saying, it's so tiny, not even as big as a rat, what's the point of keeping it? Get rid of it. I shielded the little kitten in my arms, defying them for the first time. I said, I'll take good care of it. So, every day, I would save a little bit of my own meager food to feed the little orange kitten. It was sweet and affectionate, and though it never ate its fill, it slowly grew up. When it caught its first mouse, I excitedly brought my parents over to see. My mother's comment, it wasn't for nothing we raised it, made me happy for a long time. But one day when I came home from school, the little orange cat that should have been there to greet me was nowhere to be found. I searched all its favorite spots, but it was gone. In the end, it was Tyler who, with a smile, told me the cruel truth. That damn cat, it died around noon today. I lunged at him, wanting to hit him, but he shoved me away. You want to know how it died? It ate rat poison, I asked him, but we don't have any rat poison at home, do we? He answered matter-of-factly, I stole it from school. Mom and Dad even praised me, saying what a sensible, good boy I was. 11. Tyler has always been a sensible and well-behaved child. My little orange cat and I are not. 12. Lyra, what are you thinking about? Go to bed, now. My mom yawned again and urged me on. I pushed her hand away and cried out, I can't, I'm so hot, and I can't sleep. My head is all foggy. Dad, Mom, what if I get to the exam and can't write a single answer? That won't do. The anger that had flared up when I pushed her hand away was completely startled out of her by my words. After a long silence, my dad asked me, "So, what do you want to do?" I cried pitifully, my voice hitching with sobs. "I want to sleep in your room." Or Tyler's room would be fine too. My mother hesitated again and again. Still unable to bear the thought of Tyler being put out, she said to my father, "Dear, maybe we should let Lyra sleep in our room." Just as my father was about to nod in agreement, I added in a pitiful, aggrieved tone, "I want to sleep alone. I've gotten so used to sleeping by myself all these years. I can't sleep with too many people around." My father was so angry he wanted to scold me, but he held back. His face darkened. "Fine, I'll go sleep with Tyler, you go sleep in Lyra's room." My mom wasn't thrilled about sleeping in my tiny, run-down room either, but the only other option was the couch. In the end, she had to agree. Before she left, my mom reminded me, "Lyra, the air conditioning is expensive to run. Once you've cooled off a bit, remember to turn it off. Your father and I have had a hard enough time raising you kids. You need to be sensible." I answered obediently, "Okay, Mom." "Don't worry." I lingered at the door a moment longer, satisfied to hear a roar of anger from Tyler's room, which was quickly silenced. Is Lyra out of her mind? It's been working fine for years, and it just happens to break down today. I couldn't help but laugh, and in high spirits, I opened the door to my parents' room. It was incredibly cool inside. I looked up and saw the air conditioner was set to 24 degrees. My parents really are in great shape. I picked up the remote, turned the temperature up 2 degrees, and then tossed it carelessly into a corner. I got into bed, pulled up the covers, and drifted off to sleep in a contented mood. As for all the commotion and chaos outside, what's it got to do with me? 13, I had the best week of my first 18 years. Amidst the simmering anger of my parents and Tyler, we finally faced the college entrance exams. Thanks to them, I ate well, slept soundly, and was in high spirits. My mind was exceptionally clear while taking the test, and I finished all the questions in no time. Feeling Tyler's anxious kicks against my chair from behind, I pretended not to notice and simply inched my chair forward. The slight noise I made caught the proctor's attention, and they glanced in my direction. I raised my hand. "Teacher, I'm finished. I'd like to hand in my paper early." After turning in my exam, the teacher escorted me to an empty classroom to wait for the official end of the test. I was alone in the classroom, bored. I rested my head on the desk and gazed out the window, struck by how intensely blue the sky was. The dismissal bell rang not long after. Once I was told I could leave, I quickly gathered my stationery and headed out. I need to get back before Tyler does. First, I'm worried that jerk Tyler, still fuming, might corner me in an alley and beat me up, which would mess with my exam this afternoon. Second, I have to see Mom and Dad before Tyler does. 14, the moment I got home, before my parents could even react, I dropped to my knees with a thud, threw my arms around my mom, and started sobbing. No matter how they pressed me, I refused to say a word. "Lyra, sweetheart, don't cry. Tell us what happened. Where's Tyler? Why isn't he with you?" My mom's face fell, as if a terrible thought had struck her. "Oh God, has Tyler been arrested?" I stopped crying, figuring Tyler would be home any minute. "No, Mom, Dad, Tyler wasn't arrested." I ran home first because I was scared. I was scared he was going to hit me. My mom helped me up, looking confused. "Why on earth would Tyler want to hit you?" "Maybe because he's had a really rough week. This morning, before the exam, he told me he was definitely going to beat me up after the test. He said. My mom was frantic. "What else did he say?" "Wah, he also said he was going to come back and tell you I wouldn't let him copy my test, so you'd beat me too." I'm not afraid of getting hit. What I'm afraid of is that if I get beaten up, it'll affect my performance this afternoon. What if Tyler doesn't get into a top-tier university because of it? My dad's face darkened. "So you really didn't let him copy?" Sobbing, I dropped to my knees again. "Dad, Mom, I'm Tyler's own sister. Even though he's treating me like this, I know how much everyone has looked after me this past week. Of course I would have let him copy." My parents stood in silence, watching me kneel on the floor, sobbing my heart out with tears and snot streaming down my face. This was the scene that greeted Tyler when he pushed the door open. The moment he saw me, he snarled, "Bitch," and lunged at me, ready to throw a punch. But before he could get anywhere near me, my father stepped in and held him back. He roared in disbelief, "Dad, Let go of me. Do you know what this bitch did? Not only did she refuse to let me copy, but she turned in her paper early. I protested weakly. I didn't. If I had turned it in early, would I have just gotten back now? Who knows where you ran off to fool around? You should have just dropped dead out there. Smack. My dad slapped him across the face. Apologize to your sister. Tyler pressed his lips together tightly, stubbornly refusing to utter an apology. My mom, feeling sorry for her son, walked over and gave my dad a reproachful shove. Can't you talk things out properly? He has an exam this afternoon. There's no need for violence. Tyler's eyes were blazing with fury as he looked at me. I looked up, tears still streaking my face, yet I managed a smile in his direction and silently mouthed the words, Tyler, having fun, 15, for the subsequent exams, at my insistence. My dad personally drove me to and from the test center. Tyler never got a chance to make a move, and he didn't manage to copy a single answer from my paper, but this time, no matter what he said, my parents held on to their preconceived notion that he would try to smear my name. Even if they wavered a little, they didn't fully believe him. With all my exams finally over, a huge weight was lifted from my shoulders. I stayed holed up at home until results day, giving Tyler no chance to hurt me. The day the results finally came out had arrived, the same day I had died in my previous life. I logged in calmly, but my results were nowhere to be seen. I was stunned for a moment, and then the house phone rang. Tyler picked it up before I could. After a few words from the other end, Tyler suddenly erupted. He slammed the phone down hard, charged over, and punched me. He put his full force into that punch. I couldn't dodge in time, and the blow made my vision go dark. Yet, in my heart, I felt a sense of release I'd never known before. I asked him, Tyler, what did you get on the test? My parents heard the commotion and came out, quickly stopping him as he was about to throw another punch. Stop, what are you doing? Tyler's eyes were red with rage as he shouted, why won't you believe me? This bitch got over 700 points herself. I only got 160. I told you she wouldn't let me copy. And you still don't believe me. My parents froze in place upon hearing his words. My mother asked me, Lyra, is what Tyler said true? Hearing this, Tyler grew even angrier. He threw his phone at my mother. You're asking her, look for yourself at the score I got. It's all your fault. You should all just die. My mother picked up the phone from the floor. Her hands trembled as she saw the number on the screen, 163. How could it only be 163? I steadied myself against the sofa, grinning with delight. A 163 is actually pretty good. Tyler was trying to cheat. He deserved a 0. My dad swung a slap at me, but this time I was ready and dodged it. Dad, why are you hitting me? That's Tyler's own score. I didn't force him to get it. Shouldn't you be mad at him? My mom was so furious she could barely speak. You little bitch, you ungrateful wretch. How did I raise such a heartless traitor? You won't even help your own brother, and then you come home and lie to us. With that, she turned and headed straight for my room, just as I expected. She emerged moments later, clutching a file folder. The scene from my past life overlapped with the present. Feigning panic, I cried out, Mom, what are you doing? Why are you taking my file? Put it down. My mother held the file folder, a look of vengeful satisfaction on her face. You ungrateful brat. All those years we spent supporting your education, wasted, since you've ruined your brother's chance to study. You won't be studying either. As she spoke, she tore the file folder to shreds. 16. It was even more shredded than in the last life, impossible to piece back together. Seeing she had already torn up the folder, I couldn't be bothered to keep up the act. Mom, I've got some good news and some bad news. Which do you want to hear first? She was trembling with anger. I don't want to hear either, I said with a laugh. Let's start with the bad news. Then, the bad news is that file folder wasn't mine, it was Tyler's. Hearing this, Tyler shoved my dad aside and dropped to his knees beside my mom. Together, they finally found the piece with his name on it from the pile of fragments. He shoved my mother to the ground with brutal force. You idiot. What have you done? My mother sat on the floor, staring at the shattered pieces in front of her, too stunned to speak. I watched it all with satisfaction. Well, let me share some good news. The good news is Tyler won't be needing that file anymore. So, no harm done. As the last word left my lips, the wail of police sirens pierced the air outside. I had already called the police and uploaded the surveillance footage of them threatening and coercing me into helping Tyler cheat on the college entrance exam online. Long before I even left my room, the police arrived right on time. watching the police take away my parents and Tyler as they desperately tried to explain it was just a family matter, filled me with an unprecedented sense of relief. 17. After securing a summer job that included room and board, I moved out of my family home that very night. Living on my own actually made me more cheerful and outgoing, and I even grew closer to my high school friends. I was taking a nap one afternoon when I got a call from the girl who used to sit in front of me in class. "Lyra, did you hear? Tyler was sentenced to death." I'm a bit surprised. Getting caught trying to cheat on the college entrance exam isn't a capital offense, is it? What happened? Well, Tyler went out drinking the night before the results came out. He was drunk and in a bad mood, lost control, and ended up killing someone. Once he got arrested, they found out about the cheating. Hearing that, I was shocked, yet somehow it wasn't entirely unexpected. Tyler was always getting into fights, big and small, and with my parents covering for him, it was only a matter of time before something serious happened. 18. Before leaving for college, I went back home for a visit. From all the running around and pleading on Tyler's behalf, my parents looked like they'd aged 20 years. The victim's family was far from poor, and they harbored a deep-seated hatred for Tyler. Compounded by the relentless pressure of public opinion online, Tyler ultimately could not escape the death penalty. Even my parents couldn't leave the house without people whispering and pointing at them. This took an even greater toll on my parents, leaving them utterly worn down. When they saw me return, it was as if they had only just remembered they had a daughter like me. My mother looked at me with eyes that could kill. "You dare show your face here? You've ruined this family and you have the nerve to come back. I should have listened to your grandmother and strangled you at birth. After all we've done, you're nothing but an ungrateful wretch." I turned a deaf ear to their curses, gathered the last of my belongings, and walked away without a backward glance. There was nothing left in this house to hold me back. After living 2 lives, I have finally found my freedom and stepped into a new beginning. 19. I changed my name during my freshman year of college. From that day on, Lyra was gone, and only Daphne remained. I will live in this world again, with a brand new outlook. I received a scholarship every semester and worked part-time every holiday. Gradually, my life got better and better. In my senior year, while I was writing my thesis, I received a call from an unknown number. The person on the phone apologized to me, saying he hadn't meant to hit them. They were the ones who had run the red light. Yes, my parents were killed in a car accident. I listened quietly as the voice on the other end said, "We can meet any demand you have, as long as you provide a letter of forgiveness." After a moment of silence, I replied, "Then give me 1 million. If my parents are looking down from above, they would be comforted. At least their deaths weren't for nothing. That's $1 million, you know." After receiving the money, I donated all of it to an orphanage. From then on, everything about that house had nothing more to do with me. I'm going to have a better life. Story 2. When the blizzard apocalypse came, I was trapped in the company. Originally, I had the opportunity to retreat to the shelter with the rescue team, but because my boyfriend Ivan said, "Wait for me, I'll come to the company to pick you up," I waited in the company for 20 days. During this period, I encountered murderers who broke into homes and colleagues who pushed me out to block their guns. These 20 days were more difficult than a lifetime. I was hungry and cold all the time, but I always believed in Ivan's promise to me, until the last moment when I was injured and infected and died. I received a text message from Beatrice. She told me in a condescending tone that Ivan had already fallen in love with someone else and was with her. As for Ivan's words asking me to wait for him, it was just said casually. In fact, she and my boyfriend were enjoying a good life at home and never thought about me. I died in my sleep with reluctance. If I were to start over again in this life, I would tell myself that I had used up all my strength to love and trust in my last life, and I would never be love-brained again in this life. I only believe in myself. Angela, wake up. It's time to go to work. After being woken up by my colleague, I looked down at my phone. It was 1:29 am, December 7th, 2035. I actually went back to before the end of the world, and there were still 5 hours left before the end of the world. In my previous life, around 6:30, just before getting off work, a heavy snowstorm suddenly started without any warning. There are no taxis available, buses have stopped running, and the subway is so packed with passengers that you can't get on, except for those who have cars or have someone to pick them up. Many people are forced to stay where they are. I was trapped in the company with some colleagues. Because the blizzard continued for a long time, we were trapped for a full 20 days. After I came to my senses, I immediately asked my supervisor for half a day off. although my supervisor was quite dissatisfied. It was the end of the world, so whoever wanted to work this crappy class could take it. The house I rent is in a village in the city at the junction of the city and the suburbs. It takes at least an hour to commute to work. The only advantage is that the rent is at least half cheaper than in the city. In order to save time, I took a taxi directly home. 01. In the car, I thought about the next plan. The first priority must be to store food and supplies. The population density near where I live is quite high, and many people who come from other places to work live here. There is also a large shopping mall for eating, drinking and having fun within 1 kilometer, which sells a wide variety of goods. After getting off the bus, I went straight to the comprehensive supermarket on the basement floor of the shopping plaza, pushed the shopping cart and quickly went to the rice, flour, grain and oil area. I bought 10 bags of 100 gene rice, 5 bags of 100 gene noodles, 5 barrels of 12L corn oil, 50 gene noodles, 50 gene red beans and mung beans, 100 gene dried chili peppers, 5 boxes of instant noodles, 5 boxes of mineral water, 5 boxes of milk, 5 boxes of salt, 2 boxes of sugar, 10 boxes of hot pot base, etc. Then I went to the daily necessities area and bought 10 bottles of shower gel, 10 bottles of shampoo, 10 boxes of soap, 10 boxes of sanitary napkins, 20 rolls of toilet paper, 5 boxes of lighters, 25 boxes of solid alcohol, 50 cans of portable gas, 120 boxes of smokeless charcoal, etc. I went to the fresh food area again and bought 20 cartons of eggs, half a pork, 20 kilograms of beef, 5 chickens, 5 ducks, 5 fish, 50 kilograms of potatoes, 50 kilograms of sweet potatoes, some vegetables, etc. There were too many things to take back, so I contacted the supermarket's delivery manager directly, told him I needed them urgently, and asked him to arrange someone to help deliver the goods immediately. Fortunately, not many people placed orders on weekdays, so the manager helped me allocate manpower and arranged a car and personnel to deliver the goods in about half an hour, taking advantage of this gap. I spent a lot of money to buy 3 sets of protective clothing that can withstand the cold of minus 30 degrees Celsius, a jacket, 2 outdoor tents, 3 sleds, 5 sets of raincoats, 2 pairs of skates, 2 military shovels, 2 crossbows, etc. At the outdoor goods store upstairs, I went to a winter clothing store next door and bought 2 sets of goose down jackets and pants, 5 sets of wool thermal underwear, and about 10 pairs of wool socks, because not many people bought the items. The merchant gave me a 40% discount on everything, which really saved me a lot of money. This allowed me to add a few items to my shopping cart that I had originally planned to give up. I loaded the newly purchased items onto the supermarket delivery truck and followed the truck back to the community. I asked the delivery driver to unload the goods at the elevator entrance of the parking lot, and then I let the car and the driver go back first. 02. After that, I used a cart borrowed from the property management and carried all the things upstairs one by one like an ant moving house. Fortunately, today is a weekday and almost no one was using the elevator in the building where I live, so it didn't attract anyone's attention. It took me 5 or 6 trips, but I finally got all the things back to the rental house. I glanced at my phone and it showed it was already 5 o'clock. Without even taking a breath, I rushed downstairs to the nearby pharmacy and bought all kinds of commonly used medicines including iodine, alcohol, bandages, anti-inflammatory drugs, antipyretics, Yunnan Baiyao, cold medicine, montmorillonite powder, etc. I also bought all kinds of vitamin tablets, paying special attention to vitamin C. In the blizzard and freezing weather, the vegetables and fruits had long been frozen to death, without the supplement of vitamin C. My hands and feet were severely swollen in just a few days in my previous life. If I had the chance to live my life again, I would just use my medical insurance card to buy all the vitamin C in the pharmacy. It was already 5:30 and my bank card balance was insufficient. It's okay, I still have a credit limit of 4,000 yuan. So I went to the fruit and vegetable store downstairs like a hard-working little bee and used it to pay more than 1,000 yuan. I rejected the boss's offer to deliver the goods to my door in 2 hours, and I paid more money to ask him to deliver the goods immediately, because in a few hours, regardless of whether the seller would be able to deliver the goods, the prices of fruits and vegetables after the snowstorm would definitely be too high for my poor wallet to afford. After delivering all the vegetables and fruits back to the rental house, it was already past 6 o'clock. At this time, I could clearly feel the coolness in the air, so I put on a thick coat before going downstairs. I also met other people in the elevator, including young people who got off work early and elderly people who went out to buy groceries and came back to cook dinner. It seems to have suddenly become much colder. I wore 2 layers of clothes today and was still shivering. It seems I need to find my long underwear and jacket to wear. Yeah, in the past. There was no need to wear autumn clothes in Sea City at this time. You could just wear 1 or 2 thin clothes to celebrate the new year. I wrapped my coat tightly and walked out of the building. There were large patches of dark clouds floating in the low sky, carrying an unfathomable and mysterious atmosphere. I quickened my pace and walked to the supermarket, which was 500 or 600 meters away from the building. I cleared out all the high-calorie foods such as candy and chocolate on the shelves, and filled a bag with snacks such as chicken feet and spicy gluten strips. I also bought 2 kitchen knives and a boning knife, and I didn't stop until I had only a few hundred yuan left on my WeChat account. When I walked out of the supermarket, it started snowing outside. I looked down at the time and it was already 6:33, putting on a raincoat. I walked towards home carrying the bag. The bag was very heavy and I had a hard time walking. After only a few minutes, the snow started to fall heavier, accompanied by a biting cold wind that made my cheeks hurt. You must keep your mouth tightly closed at this time, otherwise the cold wind accompanied by frozen snow will really make you feel like drowning and suffocating. Before the snow got heavier, I finally managed to get into the lobby downstairs. At this time, there were a lot of people crowded at the elevator entrance and it was very noisy. Some people were leaning at the door to watch the fun, while others ran into the snow excitedly. It's really strange that it snowed so heavily in December. You know, it never snows in Sea City, not to mention the south. It never snows in northern cities this month. Look at the news. It's snowing in S City, G City, and many other cities. The news is the same as in the previous life. Most parts of the world began to snow at about the same time today. Although the degree of snowfall varied, it was a strange phenomenon that had never occurred in previous years. After 20 days of continuous snowstorms, the blizzard had already developed into an unprecedented snowstorm that endangered all mankind and even caused the earth to enter a small ice age. Everyone is talking about this sudden snowstorm, while no one was using the elevator. I quickly entered the elevator with my bag and pressed the button for the floor I wanted to go to. Before the stair door closed, I could hear the residents' worried discussions. Country M and Country R are also experiencing blizzards. This can't be a global issue. This is too scary. It's over. My husband just got off work. He won't be stuck in traffic, right? My daughter told me that she had to work overtime this afternoon, so I called her and told her to go home quickly and not get stuck. I'm going to the supermarket to buy some things to stock up on when I get home, so I won't be caught off guard when the time comes. I'm going too. When I got home, I started to organize the messy supplies, placing food and daily necessities separately for easy access. Things that need to be put in the refrigerator should be put in the refrigerator, but this is only temporary. After that, the refrigerator can only be used as a storage cabinet. With the current weather, the environment outside is a natural refrigerator, and in 2 or 3 days, all the water will be frozen, and electricity will no longer be available due to lack of water and manpower support. At that time, people can only find ways to solve the problem by themselves. Water is easy to deal with, as the snow outside basically never stops. You can just collect some snow and boil it and it can be made drinkable. But without electricity there is no way to keep warm, which is deadly in weather of more than 30 degrees below zero. In rural areas, people can still burn wood, but in cities, they can only burn solid wooden furniture, paper, and anything else that can be burned. After I put everything in order, I realized that the air was exceptionally cold. It must have been getting colder again. I had been working but hadn't noticed it before. Now that I stopped, I felt the cold air piercing my bones. You can imagine how terribly low the temperature was. I turned on the air conditioner and adjusted it to 26 degrees Celsius. After a while, the indoor temperature slowly climbed up. I turned on my phone and found that it was already past 7:40 in the evening. No wonder I was so hungry. I cooked a bowl of deluxe instant noodles with eggs and beef fat, and browsed my phone while eating dinner. In this recent period of time, hot searches have been popping up one after another, all about blizzards, being trapped, rescue, etc., in various places. This is the first time I see that the hot searches are not about entertainment gossip, but are all about people's livelihood and safety, which shows the severity of this snow disaster. 03. At this time, Ivan called me. I reflexively wanted to hang up, but after thinking about it, I picked up the phone. I heard Ivan's anxious voice from the other end of the phone. Angela, where are you? Are you still at the office? I narrowed my eyes and replied, yeah, I'm at the company. I'm stuck in a snowstorm and can't get a taxi. I might have to stay at the company tonight, don't worry. I'll pick you up at the company, just wait for me there. Okay, Ivan, I'll wait for you. The same scenes and dialogues as in the previous life. In my previous life, I waited with full of hope and trust, and even gave up official rescue. I waited and waited, even though I was bullied and the company's materials and conditions were no longer suitable for living, I still didn't leave. For fear that Ivan would not be able to find me when he came to pick me up, I waited and waited. And the little flame burning in my heart became weaker and weaker, but it remained strong until the unbearable truth came to light. In fact, I am very grateful to Beatrice. She let me know the truth before I died, otherwise, it would be too tragic for me to be deceived until my death. Thanks to her for making me wake up. In this new life, I only believe in myself. The troubles in the outside world and on the internet have nothing to do with me. I fell asleep early on my warm big bed covered with an electric blanket and coral fleece. I had constant dreams that night. My childhood sweetheart experience with Ivan was replayed. In the blink of an eye, Beatrice was holding Ivan's arm, showing a mocking and smug look on her face in front of me, and also the last difficult days of my previous life. When I woke up the next day, I felt calm. I glanced out the window and saw that the snow was still falling heavily. The snow and the air formed into pieces, like thick quilts falling continuously. All exposed objects such as buildings, trees, and roads were completely covered in white, making it impossible to tell whether people were in the city or the wilderness. The air conditioner was set to 28 degrees, but it didn't work very well. I still had to wear coral fleece pajamas to feel warm. However, it was much better than the severe low temperature outside. I took a look at the work group and saw a notice sent out at around 6 in the morning saying that I didn't have to go to work today and could work from home. I know this notice will continue. In my previous life, from the first day I was trapped to the day I died, no one came to work in the company. The group was discussing. I didn't get home until after 11 o'clock yesterday. The traffic was terrible. Luckily I don't have to go to work today, so I can have a good rest for the day. I'm stuck at the company. It snowed yesterday and I couldn't get a taxi. I'm not going to be stuck here for days. There's nothing at the company. I'm crying. The complaint was accompanied by a picture of the company's office background and a desk drawer with several packets of biscuits, chocolates, and snacks. 04. Are you also in the company? I'm stuck on the 10th floor. Which floor are you on? I'll come find you. The avatar was a person with the back of a slim girl speaking quickly. I clicked on it and took a look at the circle of friends, and immediately confirmed the identity of this person. It's Bianca after all. Our company rents an office building with more than 30 floors together with more than a dozen other companies. Our company occupies 7 floors, from the 10th to the 16th floor. I was hiding in a small office on the 13th floor, and Bianca found me while searching each floor. She took the initiative to go in and out with me, saying that we were colleagues in the same company and we were all girls and should take care of each other. I believed her and shared with her the food I had stored in the office and the food I had collected. As a result, when outsiders broke in, she pushed me to those cruel and bloodthirsty perverts without hesitation. Even if I were to live this life again, I could still clearly remember the pain of the knife cutting off my flesh and the sinister smiles on those people's faces. Although I jumped out of the window and escaped, I still broke my leg. There was a group of perverts in the building. I was unable to move and could not find food or medicine, so I had to hide and died from infected wounds, hunger and cold. Okay, I'm on the 15th floor. Come find me. And me, I'm also trapped in the company. I'm on the 11th floor. And me. I was just about to add the girl on WeChat to tell her to be careful of Bianca when I saw the reply messages from the girl and others. I know that there are quite a few people in the company from my previous life. Not only that, there are even more people stranded in the entire office building. There were a lot of people but limited supplies. And because the conditions in the official shelters were not very good, when the rescue team came, many people followed, but many people also stayed behind. No one expected that as the blizzard intensified, the survival situation would become unimaginably severe. After the girl accepted my WeChat message, I was afraid that she would not believe what I said, so I made up a story that Bianca had stolen my boyfriend before. I wanted her to doubt Bianca's character and be wary of her. The girl thanked me, but I didn't expect that within a few minutes I received a group chat friend request from Bianca. I understood instantly what had happened. Sure enough, when Bianca saw that I didn't approve her friend request, she directly at me in the work group, "Angela, are you seriously ill? Why are you spreading rumors that I stole your boyfriend? This is the first time I've heard of someone like you. You don't have any money to spread rumors, right? Just wait, I'm not done with you." There were people watching the fight and trying to stop the fight. People kept at ing me, and some colleagues from the department sent me private messages asking what happened, but I didn't respond. I put my phone aside and muted the sound. I ate some cold green grapes and comfortably lay on the sofa covered with a small mountain of quilts. It is difficult to persuade a damned ghost with kind words. Since someone doesn't want to listen, I can only respect his fate. Afterwards, I saw the girl's tearful accusation against Bianca in the group. And then it stopped abruptly. She must have encountered misfortune, but that's another story. On the third day of the blizzard, I had hot pot at home alone. After all, I bought so much hot pot base. It would be a waste if I didn't eat it. Open the window a little to let the smell dissipate, and the blizzard and strong wind outside will become the best helpers to destroy the corpse. Just when I was enjoying my meal, with a bite of meat and a bite of vegetables, an unpleasant person came and ruined my appetite. It was a call from my parents, whom I hadn't seen since adulthood. If they hadn't come to make their presence known, I would have almost forgotten that I even had parents. "Your brother is trapped in the school dormitory due to the blizzard. He has no food. You are all in City C. Go and bring him some food. Make sure to include his favorite beef jerky and chocolate." My dad gave me orders in a domineering manner. But I just thought he was ridiculously stupid. May I ask why? Because you have never given me a penny for tuition and living expenses since I went to college. Because you have ignored me for so many years. Because you are so shameless. Haven't you figured it out after all these years? Apart from my last name being the same as yours, I have nothing to do with you, you unfilial daughter. Your family raised you to adulthood and even let you enter university. Why are you so ungrateful? Don't think that we country people don't understand. You will have to support us in the future. Now we don't need you to pay for support. You just need to buy more food and warm things to send to your brother. Before my dad finished speaking, my mom picked up the phone and played the emotional card. "Angela, you are the only relative your brother has in City C, and he has been hungry for a whole day. Can you go see him? Just buy him something. Your brother has been talking about you all the time. If he wasn't afraid of disturbing you, he would have come to see you a long time ago." I sneered. "You are so rich. Just transfer it to him and let him buy it himself. You stupid girl. Isn't it because the school supermarket is closed, and your brother doesn't have thick clothes? It will be painful for him to go out." You guys are so funny. Let me tell you straight. It's impossible for me to deliver something to your Alex. But I can consider sending him off after his death. You're the one who's going to die. I hung up the phone immediately to block out the roar, and then blocked the phone numbers of the three of them. The more I thought about it, the funnier it got, and I couldn't help laughing until tears came out. Ever since I ran away from home for 2 days in junior high school because my parents treated me and my younger brother differently, and my parents didn't notice. I no longer have any expectations of my parents. Through this running away from home, I also got to know another runaway child, Ivan. He was luckier than me. In less than 2 hours, his parents came to find him and took me, a lonely child, home with them. I enjoyed the warmest dinner of my life at Goo's house. I particularly envy Ivan. He has everything. A father who pretends to be majestic and a gentle and amiable mother. Later, at the invitation of Goo's parents, I often went to Goo's house for meals, and became more and more familiar with Ivan. When we were in our senior year of high school, Ivan's parents both passed away in an accident. At the funeral, Ivan, who had been silent for several days, hugged me tightly and said in my ear with a choked voice, "Angela, you are all I have, and he is the only one for me, so I accept everything he says and love him without reservation." Regardless of life or death, we spent 4 years in college, relying on each other and feeling extremely sweet. After work, Ivan met Beatrice, the daughter of his company's boss. It's a cliché plot. Beatrice falls in love with Ivan at first sight and keeps pestering him. I have met Beatrice, a very passionate and outstanding girl, much more interesting than the dull me. Although Ivan has always been rude to Beatrice, I have always been worried that one day she will take away the only thing I have left, at the last moment of my life. I learned from Beatrice that they were together, and I actually felt that it was just as I expected. Just as I picked up the meatball and was about to continue eating, the phone rang again. This time it was Ivan. He called me every day for these 3 days. 05, Angela. Are you still in the company? I'm on my way and will be there soon. Don't give up hope and wait for me. There was the sound of howling wind and snow in the background of the call, and Ivan's voice felt hoarse and piercing. But I know this must be my illusion, because in my previous life, a few days before the end of the world, I also received a call from him. He sounded very distressed, and I couldn't help but persuade him, Ivan, take a break, don't work too hard. Where are you? I can come find you. No, it's too dangerous outside, don't run around. I'll come find you. I don't think he hates me so much that he wants me dead. He probably just doesn't want me to go find him and find out that he's cheating on me. So in this life, I responded to him like this, Ivan, I'm at the company, I'll be waiting for you to pick me up. The relationship between men and women is just him cheating on me and me cheating on him. If I was still unwilling and wanted to get things clear in my previous life. I am tired and exhausted in this life and don't want to trap myself anymore. All I want now is to stay in a warm room, eat some hot food, and live well. On the 5th day of the blizzard, the water and electricity were gone, and only the internet was still struggling. Now I mainly rely on charcoal fire for heating and cooking. Fortunately, I bought enough charcoal at that time to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. I left a small hole in the corner of the window for ventilation. In the first few days, community workers called on everyone to come out and clear the snow to prevent the accumulated snow from collapsing the buildings. Now even the snow-clearing robots have disappeared from the streets. The sound of breaking glass broke the silence of the blizzard, and I witnessed a burglary in the building opposite. 3 masked men broke the glass of the 3rd-floor balcony, then entered the house one after another from the balcony and easily subdued the owner of the house who wanted to resist. The place I rented was on the 22nd floor, with a wide view, and I could see the building opposite clearly. When the houses in the community were delivered, they were all installed with thick anti-theft windows and anti-theft doors. The 3rd floor opposite probably removed all the anti-theft windows for the sake of appearance, and because no one had cleaned up the heavy snow for days, the snow had already reached the 2nd and 3rd floors. Without anti-theft windows, this family would undoubtedly be targeted by criminals in the apocalypse. When the gangsters inserted the knife into the man's abdomen, there was a gasp from somewhere in the window of the surrounding area. It seemed that many neighbors were watching silently. At this time, the curtains in the building opposite were drawn, but the screams of the hostess and the child could still be heard. This is too much, too arrogant. How dare they do this in broad daylight? Call the police. Call the police now, the little girl who lives alone on the left said indignantly. It is estimated that some witnesses have already called the police. In this weather, no one is willing to go out and fight the criminals to save people, but calling the police is a piece of cake. What's more, it's really scary to have this group of people in the community. Who knows if misfortune will befall their family? But what no one expected was that the crime rate soared under the extreme climate. Police force was seriously insufficient, and police equipment was extremely scarce in blizzard weather. Even if the police were to come, it would take at least half a day for their turn to come, by which time the masked criminals would have already taken off their masks and blended into the neighborhood. I picked up my phone and looked at the messages in the group. No one had sent any messages, only messages from the previous day. It seems that everyone knows that the criminals are from the community, so they dare not send messages rashly to attract the attention of the criminals and bring disaster to themselves and their families at this special time. 2 hours later, 3 masked bandits swaggered out of the opposite building carrying rice and flour supplies. Only through the gaps in the curtains that occasionally fluttered in the strong wind could one catch a glimpse of 2 naked bodies. Adding a bit of eerie and terrifying atmosphere, the people in the community became even more silent. It was obvious that witnessing such a thing had a great impact on everyone, and thus they had a deeper understanding of the end of the world. Since then, I have become more careful, especially paying more attention to ventilation when eating strong-smelling food. 06. On the 8th day of the blizzard, I had to go out. The day before, I got some information from the internet that there was a small flower and bird seed shop nearby that might have a very complete variety of seeds. Because I was busy stockpiling supplies on the first day of my rebirth, I forgot about the seeds. Although I didn't have the time or conditions to stockpile them at that time, food will eventually be eaten up. But only with seeds can there be hope and the possibility of sustainable development. The seed store is about 3 kilometers away from me, and it usually takes only about 10 minutes to get there by bike. But now it is icy and snowy outside, with strong winds, which greatly increases the difficulty of traveling. Even if you use a sled, It may take more than double the time to identify directions and resist the wind and snow. 07. Put on woolen underwear. Stick on dozens of hot packs. Put on cold-proof clothes. Put on a hat, mask and gloves. Put on snow boots, and carry a sports backpack. After everything was ready, I poured a bucket of hot water on the door and successfully opened the frozen door. I was caught off guard and hit by the cold wind outside, almost giving me a choke. At this time, the snow had already reached the third floor, and the people on the third floor had already taken refuge elsewhere. I broke the window facing the outside of the stairwell on the third floor. Then he put on the sled, goggles, windproof hat and other equipment, went out of the window and came to the snow outside. The snow on the road was very thick and soft, probably because almost no one had walked on it. Fortunately, I had a sled board that increased the force bearing area, otherwise I would have fallen into it long ago. The blizzard had not stopped yet, and it was very difficult for people to walk in it. I was blown all over the place by the strong wind, and it took an hour before I successfully walked out of the community. After leaving the community, I struggled to identify the direction of my destination in the vast white world, and then I mustered up the courage to take the step that I had not taken in my previous life. By the time I successfully reached the vicinity of my destination, I was almost hypothermic and my whole body was numb from the cold. Before my strength was completely gone, I finally managed to find a house with an open door and hide inside. I drank a pot of brown sugar ginger tea and rubbed my hands and feet vigorously. As expected, they were already swollen from the cold. After I calmed down a little, I looked at the destination again and found that it was just 100 meters away from me. After eating a few energy bars to replenish my energy, I acted quickly so that I could get home that day. Otherwise, I was really afraid of freezing to death if I spent the night outside. I put on all my equipment again and arrived at the seed store smoothly this time. Fortunately, the seed store was located on higher ground and had not been submerged by the snow. After successfully breaking into the store using the old method, I took out 1 or 2 packets of each type of seed from the store. I couldn't take too many with me. I packed about 30 kilograms into one backpack, and my mission for this trip was completed. On the way back, I still didn't see anyone, as if I was the only one left in the white world. When I was about a quarter of the way there, I arrived at a pedestrian street, although I was not short of supplies for the time being. I never felt that I had too many supplies. At this moment, a big black dog suddenly rushed out from a shop on the left and barked at me, which scared me. "Coco, stop!" A girl followed and stopped her. When the dog saw its owner, it stopped acting arrogantly and started wagging its tail. This makes me envy dogs, who can move freely in this blizzard weather with temperatures of minus dozens of degrees, without having to wrap themselves up like bears like humans. "Do you want to go in and rest for a while?" It was difficult to speak in the blizzard, so the girl shouted and gestured. Seeing that the snowstorm was getting worse, I was looking for a place to rest for 10 minutes. Girls who keep dogs are usually not bad people, so I followed her into the store she walked out of. Judging from the half-torn books scattered all over the floor of the shop on the first floor, this should have been a bookstore. Perhaps this is the reason why the girl and the dog have not frozen to death yet. Entering the warmer room, the girl took off her scarf, hat and mask. Looking friendly, the dog named Coco kept circling around the girl with its tongue sticking out. "I'm sorry, Coco thought you were a bad guy just now, so she kept barking at you, but she definitely won't bite you. Are you scared?" I silently took off my mask and shook my head with a smile. "It's okay, this dog is very protective of its owner." I took out a few sausages from my bag, took one in my mouth and chewed it, then gave 2 to the girl. Sure enough, after the girl took it hesitantly, she fed one into Coco's mouth without hesitation. Coco's tail was almost shaking like a propeller. "Thank you. I haven't eaten sausage for a long time. By the way, sister, what's your name?" "My name is Carmen. Why are you out alone in this weather? It's so dangerous." "My name is Angela. I came out to look for some supplies." "What? Your name is Angela, you are Angela?" Carmen's surprise made me very confused. I should not have seen her before. Soon my doubts were answered. A girl upstairs heard the noise and stuck her head out from the second floor. The girl upstairs was wearing a thin down jacket at that time, and I recognized her at once. "It's Beatrice." It was obvious that she also recognized me. I saw a variety of emotions flashing across her face, including panic, fear, and jealousy, which made me even more confused. "Beatrice, did you hear me? It's Ivan's girlfriend Angela." "Angela, you didn't come here just to look for Ivan, did you?" Ivan is so embarrassed that he is now unconscious just to look for you. You two are really going to each other's way. I am so envious and admirable. Carmen, Beatrice frantically tried to stop Carmen, and even wanted to go downstairs eagerly. Ivan is in a coma. How could Ivan be in a coma? If Ivan was unconscious, then who was the person who sent me the text message? Angela. Wait for me. This morning, I felt like I was on the edge of a cliff, waiting for the verdict of fate. I couldn't help but look at the nervous Beatrice. She was obviously not prepared to see me and was at a loss throughout the whole process. Ivan is unconscious, I asked softly, although I didn't quite understand why Beatrice wanted to stop me, perhaps because of my previous kindness to Coco and her. Carmen still told me the truth despite Beatrice's obstruction. Yes. He has been in a coma for 2 days with a high fever. When the blizzard came, Beatrice, Ivan and I were entertaining clients at a restaurant near the company, and then we were trapped there for 2 days. Ivan kept saying that he would come to pick you up, but later when he saw that the blizzard showed no signs of stopping, he was worried about you and insisted on walking to find you. You have to know that the distance between the two of you is about 70 or 80 kilometers. And it is almost impossible to walk in this weather. Then Ivan found a car, and he insisted on coming to look for you. Beatrice wanted to follow Ivan, and I had no car, so I had to follow them. So we came to look for you together. The car broke down on the road, so we had to walk. Unfortunately, we ran into some robbers. Ivan got chopped on the left leg while fighting them. Fortunately, a convoy passed by and scared them away, so we were able to escape successfully. Ivan's leg injury was very serious. He had to use crutches to walk for the next few days, but even so, he still insisted on coming to find you, saying that you were waiting for him, even though he couldn't even tell the direction. He kept on going until he had a high fever and passed out 2 days ago. Ivan also had a seizure yesterday. I don't know if he can hold on. In order to reassure you these past 2 days, Beatrice has been holding Ivan's phone to comfort you. Fearing that you might not receive the message and run out, and miss us, Carmen was moved by Ivan's persistence and deep affection. She chattered on and on about her experiences of the past few days. Beatrice, seeing that she couldn't stop Carmen, just stood there in a daze. Is this the truth? My heart, which was once as solid as a rock, seemed to have a crack, and the cold wind that pierced into my bones made me feel so uncomfortable that I almost suffocated. It turns out that Ivan did not change his heart in his previous life, and he did not lie to me. While I was waiting for him, he was indeed trying his best to get closer to me and fulfill his promise to me. It was just a coincidence, coupled with Beatrice's concealment with ulterior motives, that caused us to die one after another with regret and pain. Where is he? Who is it? Ivan, he's upstairs. Before Carmen could finish her words, I ran upstairs. No, you can't go up. Beatrice tried to stop me, but was held back by Carmen. Beatrice, what's wrong with you? You've been acting weird since just now. I know you like Ivan, but Angela is Ivan's girlfriend. I'm telling you solemnly, you can't destroy this kind of love that goes both ways. Otherwise, even if we are good friends who grew up together, I won't let you off. Maybe it was because we hadn't seen each other in 2 lifetimes. Or maybe it was because Ivan was too badly injured and too haggard. But the sight of Ivan lying there unconscious looked a little strange to me. His pale face and lips frightened me, and my body kept shivering under the thin quilt. I took out spare clothes and thermal film from the sports backpack on my back, wrapped Ivan completely in them, and took off my windproof jacket and put them on him. After making sure that Ivan was completely exposed, he tied him up tightly with a rope and carried him downstairs. Angela, what are you doing? Carmen looked at us in surprise. I want to take him home. Since Carmen had told me the truth before, I answered every question she asked. No, you can't take him away. He's mine. Beatrice screamed in despair. I turned my head and looked at her for a while, then sneered disdainfully. Beatrice, if you are mentally ill, go get treatment immediately. And stop daydreaming about other people's boyfriends. Beatrice cheated on me in my previous life, and I hated her. If she hadn't kept sending me messages using Ivan's phone to ask me to stay in the company, I would have come out to find Ivan a long time ago and would not have missed him. The Beatrice in this life is at most just coveting my boyfriend, and I can't take revenge on her now for the deception she showed me in her last life. At this moment, I was just glad that I finally found Ivan. And I didn't have time to care about other things, seeing that I insisted on taking Ivan with me. Carmen stopped Beatrice and, seeing that she was still making a fuss, she slapped her hard on the face and said, Beatrice, wake up. Beatrice was stunned, and Carmen took the opportunity to come forward and hold me. 08. Let Coco give you a ride. I see you came here on a sled, and Coco could be of use, don't refuse. You won't survive walking outside in this weather, Carmen is right. I really don't have the confidence that I can bring Ivan home successfully, even though I am ready to die with him, but who would want to die if they can live? Thank you, Carmen. I'll ask Coco to come back when we get there. I looked at Carmen gratefully. Carmen nodded with a smile, then hugged Coco and went to communicate with it. Coco is indeed a smart dog. He understood his owner's instructions in just 2 or 3 seconds and lay down in front of me, making it easier for me to put the sled and other equipment on him. While we were getting ready, Beatrice remained silent and I ignored her. After saying goodbye to Carmen, I and Ivan each took a sip of white wine and set off. After going out, I tried hard to identify the direction and then gave Coco instructions, and Coco followed my instructions completely, except for the fact that I almost lost my way on the way back due to the heavy snow and wind. I managed to get back downstairs in a shorter time than the way there. Coco really made a great contribution to this. At this time, the snow had already reached the 4th floor. Judging from the half-open windows, the residents who originally lived on the 4th floor must have moved out early. I smashed all the glass with a military shovel, carried Ivan in, and Coco followed in. I took out a portable gas stove and a small pot from my backpack, dug some clean snow outside, and cooked a pot of hot noodle soup with ham, and gave it to Coco first. During the meal, Coco ate while wagging his tail, and even licked my hand when he was enjoying the meal. While Coco was eating happily, I wrapped him with layer after layer of white high-tech fabric to prevent hypothermia, and tied ham, boiled eggs, instant noodles and other supplies around his abdomen. Coco rested for a while and gradually recovered her strength. I stroked Coco's big head and said, "Coco, go back. Be careful on the road and avoid the crowds so that you can return to your master safely." Coco licked my fingers, then jumped out and slowly disappeared into the white snow scene. After eating a bowl of hot noodle soup, I gradually regained some strength. Looking at Ivan, whose body was still cold even after drinking hot water, I knew I couldn't delay any longer. I tied Ivan to my body again and started to slowly climb up the stairs. When I barely climbed to the 10th floor, my steps were already so weak that I almost rolled down the stairs with Ivan, but fortunately I used the ordnance shovel in my hand to steady myself in time. I couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat, and my hand started to tremble. I held Ivan's hand tightly and encouraged myself. "Ivan, I will definitely take you home. You have to wait for me this time." I don't know how much time had passed. I kept seeing double in front of my eyes and my breathing was bloodshot. I finally returned to the 22nd floor with Ivan. I opened the door with great effort, went into the bedroom, and lay on the cold bed for a long time before I could recover, but I knew a fire had to be started and Ivan had to be treated. I forced myself to get up and use 6 stoves to make fires. I placed 3 in the bedroom to heat the room, and used the other 3, 2 for boiling hot water and 1 for cooking food, making full use of them, as the temperature in the bedroom gradually rose. I stripped Ivan of all his clothes, and then I saw the wound on his leg. The wound was rotting and oozing pus, probably because the blood could not flow out due to the low temperature after being cut, forming blood clots. Ivan's high fever and coma were probably caused by the inflammation of the wound. The most urgent task was to clean Ivan's wounds and reduce his fever. Fortunately, I was slashed by those bad guys in my previous life and I treated my wounds myself, so I have some experience. I disinfected the scalpel with alcohol, closed my eyes, and then cut off all the dead flesh around the wound on Ivan's left leg in one go. The blood from the wound finally started flowing, and I poured a whole bottle of alcohol into the red and swollen wound. At this time, Ivan finally had some reaction, and his body shook violently uncontrollably. I held his hands soothingly. "It will be fine soon. It won't hurt soon. Bandage all the wounds with bandages, put layers of warm clothes on him, and stuff him into a warm bed filled with hot packs." 09. I gave him anti-inflammatory and antipyretic drugs again, and stroked Ivan's face as it began to warm up. "Ivan, you must hold on. I believe in you, you know. I have always believed in you and waited for you in my previous life." Ivan did not disappoint me. After I gave him glucose for 3 days, he finally woke up. When he woke up, he looked at me deeply. I thought he would ask why he was here, but his first words were, "Angela. I had a long dream." "What is it?" I looked up into his eyes with some foreboding. "It was you. In my dream, you were waiting for me at the company. You were always hungry and had no fuel to keep warm, but you kept waiting. You never left until we were in danger or injured. the company building was clearly no longer suitable for survival. I asked you to leave and go to the shelter, and you cried. But you still firmly told me that you would wait for me there. I'm so sad. My Angela is so talented, she's good at taekwondo and sanda, she could have made a living on her own, but it was all delayed because of me. How could I let you die in one place? How could I bear to do that? If I can't come, I won't let you wait for me anymore. I was already crying as Ivan's hoarse voice played. Ivan raised his arms with difficulty and hugged me in his arms. Angela, don't cry. From childhood to adulthood, the thing I hate most is seeing you cry. I cried even louder, and then in revenge I wiped my snot and tears on Ivan's clothes. But I immediately regretted it because Ivan couldn't move now and I had to clean up the mess. I was exhausted after crying, so I cooked a hot pot. Ivan drank white porridge and looked at me eagerly while I ate the delicious and spicy food. You have to behave yourself when you are sick. You can only eat after you get better. Ivan's eyes showed helplessness when he heard me use the same words he used to coax me when I was sick. He didn't ask me how I brought him back, nor did he ask why I said I was at the company but went back to the rental house and prepared supplies for 2 rooms. Maybe all the answers are in that unspeakable yet particularly real dream. 3 days later, Ivan was able to get up normally, but his vitality was seriously damaged and his leg injury would definitely not heal in the short term. Even my hands and feet were severely frostbitten the last time I went out, so the 2 of us patients recuperated together. And from time to time we would use the abundant supplies at home to give ourselves a snack to supplement our nutrition. It wasn't until one day when I received a text message from Ivan's cell phone that I remembered that the last time I was in a hurry to bring Ivan back, his cell phone was left with Beatrice. Angela, is Ivan okay? Is he better? He's fine, we're fine, but this has nothing to do with you. After I sent this text message, Beatrice didn't send me any more messages for a long time. Maybe her phone couldn't find a place to charge. After all, the blizzard lasted for too long. After 5 full months, the intermittent and endless blizzard finally stopped. At this time, the earth had already become a white ice ball, and Ivan and I were carefully nurturing a seedling growing from the soil. Whenever there is despair, new hope will always come, and all we have to do is wait. Story 2. As the record-breaking heatwave struck, my mom promptly moved into my house along with her new husband, her beloved stepson, his wife, and herself. They overtook my house, consuming the supplies my husband had painstakingly stocked up, and their words were chillingly harsh. Sweetheart, the food we have is hardly enough for so many people. You and your husband are young, you should go out and fend for yourselves. You can't possibly still depend on your parents at your age, can you? My husband and I were practically kicked out and succumbed to the scorching heat outside. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself tied to a luxury hotel. Inside the hotel, the temperature was pleasant, and supplies were unlimited. Everything was replenished as soon as it was consumed. This time, I would sit in an air-conditioned room eating chilled watermelon, letting my mother and her family experience the agony I went through in my past life. The temperature is about to break historical records. Please prepare for the extreme heat. As the news broadcasted a high-temperature warning on TV, I was stunned by the date displayed on the screen. I had been reborn. The pain of burning skin and a fiery throat from before my death had not yet subsided when I grabbed the water jug from the table and drank it greedily, feeling somewhat relieved. Thinking of my husband who had died with me, I picked up the phone to call him back, but it rang before I could dial. It was my mother. In my past life, she had called around this time too, complaining about frequent power outages due to aging electrical lines in the old district and how she couldn't sleep because of the heat, asking to come stay with me to escape the heat. Feeling sorry for her suffering without air conditioning at her age, I agreed to let her come alone. However, I hadn't expected her to bring her second husband, her stepson, and his wife along. They saw my husband wasn't home and brazenly took over the house, relegating me to the living room. As soon as my mother's stepson Arthur entered, he headed straight for the master bedroom. Darling, how do you like this room? We'll live here from now on. Myrna happily toured around, scooping up all the skincare products from my vanity into her arms. Sis, you have so many skincare products you couldn't possibly finish them all. You wouldn't mind lending them to me, right? I watched angrily as they took over. This is my room. But then my mom sharply pinched my arm, smiling sweetly at Myrna. Don't mind at all. We're all family here. Whatever you see that you like, just take it. No need to be shy. I looked at my mother in disbelief, but she suddenly changed her tone, scolding me fiercely. You ungrateful thing, if I don't call you, would you not even check if I'm dead or alive? Even if I died from the heat, you wouldn't care, would you? Myrna is carrying my precious grandson now. And she's very delicate. The master bedroom will belong to her and Arthur. Your father and I will just manage with the second bedroom, go and start cooking in the kitchen. Take a look at the time. Are you planning to let us guests cook for you? I couldn't hold back and retorted, that's not my dad. My real dad passed away long ago. And if they're staying in the master bedroom, where am I supposed to sleep? My mom slapped me across the face in anger. You're defying me now. From now on, Anthony is your dad. And Arthur is your real brother. If you still recognize me as your mom, go cook now. Seeing this, Anthony hypocritically came over, patting my mom's shoulder to comfort her. Look at you, still so hot-tempered, don't scare the child. He then turned to look at the living room sofa, pretending to be considerate. Dorothy, your mom's getting old, don't argue with her. Look how spacious this living room is. This genuine leather sofa is more than enough for 2 people. You can sleep here tonight. That day ended with us at odds. Reflecting on how my mother raised me alone after my father's death, I couldn't bring myself to be harsh with her. I swallowed my pride, prepared a feast, and tried to mend fences. I thought to myself, it's just for a few days. They'll leave once the heat wave is over, but I hadn't anticipated that the weather would grow hotter each day. I sensed that something was off with the weather and planned to head to the supermarket early to stock up on supplies. However, when I shared my plan, my mom exploded in anger. Dorothy, do you think money grows on trees? Why hoard? The vegetables won't even last in this heat. You should use that money to take care of your mother and make her later years more comfortable. Arthur, sipping on a cold beer, added fuel to the fire. Exactly. Can you stop overreacting to every little thing? It wasn't easy for mom to raise you, yet you never seemed to buy her anything nice. Just wasting money. Myrna, in a whiny tone, chimed in, oh, sister, your house is so nicely furnished. These appliances must have cost a fortune. Alas, I don't have your luck. With a baby on the way, I'm still stuck living with our parents in the cramped, old district. Oh, now you like my house, who mocked me for buying in this remote business district when I got it. Your sister's house is as much yours as hers. Maybe we should switch places. Let her live in the old district and we'll move here. It doesn't matter to her anyway since she doesn't have kids. My mom decided this for me, unfazed, completely ignoring my shocked expression. This house was bought with my husband's and my savings. They didn't contribute a dime. What right do they have to claim it? I immediately objected, and my mom scolded me for being disrespectful. Arthur kicked me to the ground, viciously threatening, if you dare argue with mom again, believe me, next time I'll kick you to death. The apocalypse hadn't even officially started, and we were already at each other's throats. Yet, even then, I held on to some hope for my mom, never imagining she had already conspired with them to kill me and take over my house. Eventually, heartbroken, I drove out alone to stock up, only to discover that prices had skyrocketed and people were panic buying. I struggled to secure some water and food, hauling it home trip by trip. When I returned, I found them enjoying the air conditioning and snacking on seeds, completely ignoring my sweaty, exhausted state. It was as if I was just a hired hand. During dinner, I made just 3 dishes, thinking we should conserve food given the shortages, but Myrna started crying pitifully. Sis, I know you don't welcome us, but you don't have to be so cold. How is this little food enough? Even if I can go hungry, my baby can't. My mom glared at me, slammed her chopsticks down, marched into the kitchen, and brought out the beef and pork I had bought. Eat, if it runs out, she can go buy more. We can't let my grandson go hungry. I tried to explain the soaring prices and shortages outside, but they wouldn't believe me, convinced I was just being stingy. I urged them to go outside and see for themselves that I wasn't lying. Arthur sneered, trying to trick us out so you can lock us out. Better stop playing games, or I won't be nice. They ate lavishly, and soon all the food was gone. By then, temperatures had soared above 50 degrees, making it dangerous to even step outside. Yet my mom didn't care and insisted I go out to buy food. At a critical moment, my husband Ben returned, bringing food he had purchased on the road. After Ben and I brought the food inside, my mom and Anthony promptly pushed us out the door. My daughter, this small amount of food is not nearly enough for so many people. You and your partner are still young, you should go out and find your own food. You can't still rely on your family at this age, can you? I pleaded with my parents for a long time, crying and asking my mother why, especially since I am her biological daughter. Yet, she still refused to open the door for me. Eventually, It was Arthur who, annoyed by my crying, gleefully told me, "I'm also Mom's biological child, something you didn't expect, right? Of course, as a son, I'm more important than you. As for you, you might as well go to the underworld and join our short-lived dad." Ha ha ha, that was when I realized that my father's death years ago was not an accident. It was my mother and Anthony, her lover, who had killed him. I was filled with rage but was powerless to do anything about it. My husband and I, in utter despair, had no choice but to leave. After struggling for 3 days, we ultimately succumbed to the extreme heat. Hey, daughter, the old town area has had another power outage, and it's unbearably hot. Let me come and stay at your place for a couple of days. I was about to refuse when a mechanical voice echoed in my mind, "Congratulations, host, for binding with the Apocalypse Hotel system. This system is dedicated to creating a comfortable environment in the apocalypse in exchange for gratitude points." Realizing the situation, I quickly changed my response. "Of course, Mom, but I just moved in and things aren't fully set up yet. Give me a couple of days to prepare. And then you can move in." My mother happily hung up, and I hurriedly called my husband, falsely claiming there was an emergency at home to get him to end his business trip early. Hearing his voice made tears uncontrollably fall from my eyes. In my past life, he had returned with supplies to save me, but I ended up causing his death. This time, I was determined to protect him. From now on, he would be my only family. As for my blood-sucking mother and her family, this time I planned to personally ensure their demise. Following the system's directions, I went to a nearby hotel address. What was an empty lot just yesterday now stood a towering skyscraper of over 100 stories, a sight to behold from afar. As I entered the building, I noticed a significant coolness within the hotel area compared to the outside heat. A robotic AI receptionist approached me with a greeting as soon as I arrived. "Welcome, Master. I will now guide you on a tour of your hotel." The interior of the hotel was much larger than it appeared from outside, each floor spacious enough to accommodate thousands of people. It also featured various amusement facilities, restaurants, and shopping centers, with all resources readily available and automatically replenished by the system. It was like a miniature city. As I was still in shock, the mechanical voice in my mind spoke again. "Host, the hotel is now activated. You may check in at any time. You can set your own customer admission and pricing standards, and all profits are yours to keep. The system only collects gratitude points from guests." Gratitude points. I would need to carefully select my guests. Without hesitation, I chose the top floor of the hotel as my residence and set the admission standard to kindness index above 80 points. The machine to measure the kindness index was placed right at the hotel's main entrance by the system, meaning that anyone not sufficiently kind couldn't even enter. The hotel's shield was so strong that even missiles couldn't penetrate it. After setting everything up, I listed our house for sale at a low price through a real estate agent. The agent, seeing the low price including furniture and appliances, decided to buy it himself. I agreed with the buyer to hand over the house in 5 days. I heard that the real estate agent had connections everywhere, and was quite influential. Now I'm not worried that when the time comes, my mom and the others will cling to the house and refuse to leave. The next day, after completing the property transfer procedures, I packed up everything belonging to me and my husband and moved it all to a hotel, to prevent my mom and the others from detecting any flaws. I even placed some low-quality daily necessities and skincare products around the house. Everything was ready, just waiting for my mom to bring that whole family of scoundrels over. My husband arrived back in the middle of the night, looking utterly exhausted from his journey. As soon as he entered the door, he hugged me and asked what had happened at home. I hugged him back and checked to make sure he wasn't injured. Finally easing the worry in my heart, I drove him to the hotel, and on the way, I briefly and shockingly told him about the rebirth and the system. His eyes were red with anger, but he never doubted me. Even though the story sounded incredible, he chose to believe me. We had a big meal at the hotel restaurant and then rested at the hotel. Early the next morning, I went back home alone and decided not to tell my mom that my husband had returned, taking advantage of their absence. I installed hidden cameras all around the house to monitor their activities without any blind spots. Near noon, there was a knock at the door. As soon as I opened it, my mom pushed past me and entered, muttering complaints. "It's such a hot day, and you didn't even think to drive and pick me up, just enjoying the air conditioning at home. You really have no conscience." Arthur and Myrna acted as if they didn't see me and didn't greet anyone. They headed straight for the master bedroom and started rummaging through things. After finding nothing of value, They reluctantly came out. Mom, Myrna is pregnant and it's inconvenient for her, so we'll stay in this master bedroom since it's spacious, they said. My mom quickly agreed, and Anthony started moving their luggage into the second bedroom. It looked like they never planned to leave. They had set their sights on my house before even arriving. Mom, didn't you say you were coming alone? Now you've brought so many people. There's not enough room for everyone. I looked sternly at Arthur and Myrna. In my past life, I put up with it all for the sake of my mom. Now that I know she intends to harm me, why should I care anymore? Even if they don't leave, I can't let them live comfortably. Upon hearing this, my mom's eyebrows shot up. What do you mean by that? I raised you for nothing. Huh? Now you're unhappy that your dad, your brother, and his wife are staying for a couple of days. I rolled my eyes. My dad's 6 feet under. What is he supposed to be to me? Did he give birth to me or raise me? Also, I don't recall my dad having another son. My mom leapt up with a shout and tried to slap me, but this time I wasn't about to stand there and take it. I quickly dodged, her face full of disbelief. She pointed at me. You beast. No wonder you didn't want to drive to pick me up. You just didn't want us to come. I told you to come, not to bring a bunch of freeloaders. Besides, I had to sell my car to make the mortgage payments, so how could I have driven to pick you up? I changed the subject. By the way, Dad left quite a bit of money when he passed away. Since I'm his only daughter, Mom, why don't you take that money out and help me with the mortgage? I'm barely making ends meet here. Before he died, my dad was a businessman and we were somewhat well off. After my mom and Anthony caused his death, they quickly got married. And surely the money ended up in their hands. What money? Your dad died in debt. He didn't leave a dime. You won't even give me money, but you expect me to help. Are you still thinking about taking my retirement money? I can't believe I raised an ingrate. My mother threw herself to the ground, sobbing loudly as she slapped her thighs in despair. Meanwhile, Arthur pretended to help her up while never missing a chance to blame me. After all your mother has done for you, you treat her like this. Are you even human? Hurry up and cough up all the money she spent raising you. That just made me laugh. After my dad passed away, my mom remarried immediately and dumped me on my grandmother. I got a free ride in school because of my good grades, and I even earned scholarships every year. My mom never contributed financially. When my grandmother died during my college entrance exam year, I worked part-time to pay for my university fees and living expenses. I scoffed. You want money? Sure. Ask your mom if she ever gave me a dime for tuition or living expenses. Hearing that, my mom went pale and struggled to her feet, muttering, no matter what, I gave birth to you, you owe me your respect. Yes, you gave me life, but I had already repaid that debt in my past life. Anthony and Arthur, still shameless, settled themselves comfortably in our house, setting the air conditioner to a chilly 18 degrees and lounging on the bed, seeing my displeasure. For once my mother didn't force me to cook for these wretches. They ordered takeout for lunch and didn't bother me at all. At night, Arthur tossed my pillow onto the couch. You sleep in the living room, and keep it down at night. Don't disturb my wife's sleep. Myrna leaned against the doorframe, smirking. Yeah, sis, I'm pregnant and I wake up at the slightest noise. Try to be quiet when you're in the living room. Then she turned and affectionately clung to my mom's arm. Mom, your grandson is craving sweet and sour ribs, boiled fish, and spicy shrimp. The two of them acted as close as a real mother and daughter, a contrast to the distant relationship I had with my mother. Every time I tried to get close, she would push me away, annoyed. I used to envy other kids with their loving mothers and thought maybe if I tried harder to be better, my mom might like me, but deep down, she despised me and my dad and would rather have us out of her life. My mom coughed loudly to get my attention. We're out of groceries. Go to the nearby supermarket and buy some ribs, fish, and large shrimp. Of course, we were out of groceries. We hardly had enough rice for a few days. I held out my hand to my mom. Sure, give me the money, I'm broke. Just as she was about to erupt, Anthony held her back and pulled out 500 yuan from his pocket, handing it to me. We've troubled Dorothy enough by staying here. We can't let her pay for more, he said. I took the money and walked out without looking back. As soon as I left, I turned on the household surveillance app on my phone, and sure enough, I heard them bad-mouthing me. Arthur complained irritably, Mom, when are you going to make Dorothy transfer the house to me? I can't stand her. My mom's face fell. She used to listen to everything I said. I don't know what's gotten into her today, always opposing me. Could she have found out about what happened back then? Anthony sounded uncertain. No way, it's been so many years. and if you don't tell and I don't tell, who would know? If she knew, she wouldn't have let us stay. I think Ben must be stirring things up, turning that wretched girl against me. I'll sweet-talk her and she'll come around, my mom reassured them, but Arthur still seemed unsatisfied. Muttering, if all else fails, we might have to, just like back then, just deal with that Ben already. Hearing this sent chills all over my body. I was trembling with anger. These beasts, to take over my house. They even want to kill my husband. I wandered around the supermarket, picked up some random vegetables and meat, and didn't buy any of the dishes Myrna wanted. When I got home, I threw the groceries into the kitchen and sat down on the sofa to play with my phone. Myrna glanced at it and started complaining. Where are the spare ribs and fish I wanted, and the shrimp? Why didn't you buy any of them? Did you do this on purpose? Hearing the commotion, my mom quickly came out of the bedroom, frowned at the stuff on the table, and said, I gave you the money, what are you getting angry about? I pointed to the sweat on my forehead. If you dislike it, go buy it yourself. Look at the weather outside. Eat what we have. Stop being so picky. Uncharacteristically, my mom didn't say anything or order me around. Instead, she turned and went into the kitchen and got busy. She made 8 dishes and a soup, a lavish meal. At the dinner table, she happily put a piece of meat into my bowl. Dorothy, eat more. See if it tastes like when you were a child. You know, you've grown up and hardly ever come to visit me. It's been so long since you last had my cooking. I nodded, kept my head down and continued eating quietly. Honestly, my mom's cooking is great. It would be foolish not to eat. Towards the end of the meal, my mom finally got to the point. Dorothy, you know, the house in the old town is quite old. The sound insulation is bad, and it's so noisy I can't sleep at night. I see it's quieter here in the new district, less crowded. In a few days, we'll move over here, and you can go stay at my place. Sure, no problem, I replied nonchalantly, stuffing a piece of braised pork into my mouth. My mom gave Arthur a knowing look, proud of her plan. Though my house is old, it's in a good location, convenient for you to live in. You won't be at a loss. Yeah, whether it's a loss or not isn't important. What matters is that you won't last much longer. The next day, the temperature climbed again, nearing 50 degrees. With hardly anyone visible on the streets, I spent my days lounging on the sofa with the air conditioning on, binge-watching shows, doing none of the household chores. Perhaps because I had agreed to the house swap, my parents' attitude towards me had improved significantly, and they rarely asked me to do any chores. However, just like in my previous life, they still had no sense of stocking up, always thinking it was just a bit hotter than usual. Every meal still had to consist of 8 dishes and a soup, living quite luxuriously, even following their eating habits. I gained a couple of pounds. 2 days later, when we ran out of vegetables and the temperature had soared to 60 degrees, one could get sunburnt just by stepping outside, and every breath felt like an ordeal in the scorching heat. Arthur opened the balcony window to test the outside temperature, but immediately shut it with a howl. It's damn too hot. This cursed weather could kill someone. My mom walked out of the kitchen with a grave expression, sharing more unfortunate news. The water has stopped. With no stored water and just a few bottles left in the fridge, there was no way it could last 2 days for everyone in the house. Thus, the family's gaze turned towards me again. Dorothy, why don't you go out and buy some food and water? The fridge is empty, we can't just starve. I stayed put on the sofa, motioning towards the outside. Are you joking? Going out now would be deadly. If you want to go, go yourselves. After hearing what I had said, Arthur's eyes suddenly lit up, showing a touch of excitement as he looked at my mom. However, they were hesitant to speak in front of me. Soon, the 4 of them gathered in the master bedroom for a private meeting. I put on my Bluetooth headphones and turned on the surveillance in the master bedroom. Mom, with this weather, even if the sun doesn't kill me, the heatstroke will knock me out. If I collapse, I'll be cooked alive on the pavement. This is a golden opportunity, I overheard. Arthur looked at my mom joyfully, as if my house and property were already his. But what if she doesn't die? And there's Ben. Even though the house is in Dorothy's name alone, Ben might fight for the other assets. My mom hesitated, worried about what would happen if I didn't die. Even if she doesn't die, as long as we don't let her in, she'll still die of heat outside without air conditioning. As for her husband, it's uncertain if he can even make it back alive. Myrna looked menacing and pushed my mom to make a decision. All right, that's settled then, I'll go talk to her later. After their discussion, the four of them walked out as if nothing had happened. I quietly turned off the surveillance and switched back to watching a TV series. Even if they hadn't spoken, I was already planning to leave. The temperature had reached 60 degrees, and despite the air conditioning, it was still unbearably hot inside. There was no point in suffering with them any longer. In the afternoon, my mom asked me again to go out and buy groceries. I pretended to be troubled. It's too hot. Why don't you ask Arthur to go? Without thinking, my mom replied, he's a man, how would he know how to pick groceries? Just bear with it, and I'll make you something delicious when you get back. Annoyed, I grabbed my phone and bag and put on my sun protective clothing. I wanted to take an umbrella from the closet, but my mom quickly snatched it back. The sun protective clothing is enough. Leave the umbrella at home. My heart, already numb and disappointed, still ached. Once again, without hesitation, you push me towards death, even though I am your own daughter. If that's the case, then don't blame me for being heartless. I took the elevator down to the underground garage, turned on the air conditioning in the car, and waited until the temperature inside had dropped before driving quickly to the hotel. Fortunately, it was close by and there were not many cars on the road. I arrived at the hotel in 5 minutes. My husband hurried over with a big glass of water when he saw me. How are you? Sit down. I'll bring you some cold watermelon. I drank the water in one gulp, devoured a whole plate of watermelon, then took a cold shower in the bathroom and changed into clean, light pajamas. Everything went smoothly. From now on, we can comfortably live in this hotel. My husband works in a new media company and knows quite a few internet celebrities. He sent messages to some local influencers and big names on the internet, telling them about the hotel's address, its great value for money, and importantly, the abundance of food and water available here. Several influencers immediately posted videos for the sake of popularity, showing the hotel's amenities clearly. Within an hour, many people had driven over. Most were able to check into the hotel smoothly, while a few with a low goodness rating were turned away at the door. The reasons for their ineligibility, such as theft or school bullying, were displayed on a large screen at the entrance. They cursed and fumed at the hotel entrance, many pulling out their phones to record videos, but soon, the heat drove them away, and their videos unintentionally generated even more attention for the hotel. By evening, as the temperature dropped slightly, even more people came to stay. My husband and I stayed out of sight the whole time and didn't plan to reveal that we were the owners. I confidently left everything to the AI robots equipped with the system. After all, their loyalty was guaranteed. You don't have to worry about me betraying you. As night fell and I still hadn't returned home, my parents couldn't hold their anxiety any longer and called me. Hello, Mom, I said, feigning weakness. Where on earth have you run off to? Why aren't you back yet? The whole family is waiting to have dinner. My mom, hearing my voice, didn't express any concern. She was only interested in whether I had managed to buy any food. It seemed they planned to make me stock up on food before shutting me out. What a cunning plan. Mom, there's no food left in the supermarket. It was all taken. It's too hot outside. I can't make it back. I'm hiding in an underground parking garage right now. Upon hearing this, Arthur immediately became anxious. What are you hiding for? Do you want to starve your mother? It's already dark. It's not as hot as during the day. Go out and find some food. My mom also started crying. Oh dear, I'm really starving. Please bring some food home. Well, I'll look again. After hanging up, I went downstairs with my husband to have a lavish meal. We sat in a comfortably air-conditioned restaurant, ordering 2 steaks, a bottle of red wine, 2 Australian lobsters, a plate of spaghetti, and a fruit platter. After a satisfying meal, we went for a full-body massage on the first floor of the hotel, and then comfortably returned to sleep in the large bed on the top floor. When I woke up again, it was already 10 a.m. There were over a dozen missed calls on my phone, all from my mom, my husband, and I ordered breakfast to our room. I mirrored the phone's surveillance camera to the TV and watched as we ate. I saw them making a large pot of thin porridge, each with a bowl of it, and a small dish of pickles in the center of the table. Arthur frowned as he stirred his porridge. Mom, we're out of rice. How come Dorothy isn't back yet? Could she have died out there? What will we do without food? Myrna, stroking her belly, sighed. Yeah, Mom, I'm nearly starving to death, and the baby keeps kicking me. Without a word, my mom pushed her bowl toward her. You eat. I can endure a little longer. I'll call her again in a bit. I bit into a soup dumpling, savoring the flavor. My mom still had the heart to give away her porridge. so it seemed she wasn't that hungry. Let them go hungry for a few more days. 2 days later, from the surveillance, I saw that my family could barely walk due to hunger, and there was only one bottle of water left in the house, each person carefully sipping a small amount. Mom, if it's too much, why don't you go out and buy some food? If not, we'll all die of thirst. Arthur pushed my mom. Seeing the grim expression on her face as she looked outside, she said, I'm not well, let your father go. Upon hearing this, Anthony slapped my mom across the face. What nonsense! If it wasn't for your daughter failing to bring back food, would we be starving? Get out and buy some water and food. Don't come back if you can't find any. With that, he pulled my mom towards the door. My mom struggled for a while but eventually resigned herself to the situation, grabbing a sun umbrella and heading out. But as they opened the door, several men burst in. What are you doing? Trying to rob us? We don't have any food left. My mom stammered as she retreated behind Anthony. One of the men pulled out a property deed from his bag and slapped it on the table. This house is ours now. You need to leave. It's impossible. This house clearly belongs to my daughter Dorothy. The man said impatiently, Dorothy already sold the house to us a while ago, and we agreed to move in today. You better pack up and get out. After saying this, several people casually sat down on the sofa. It's lucky we bought this house. It's the only place in the new district that still has power. We'll be living here from now on. Arthur didn't want to leave because he knew very well that stepping outside was a death sentence in the scorching heat of over 60 degrees Celsius without a car, and they wouldn't last a day. But he and Anthony were no match for the group of four who, having been starving for days, were promptly thrown out. My mom called me, crying, and this time, I chose to answer. As soon as the video call connected, my mom started crying and scolding me, you ungrateful wretch, how could you do this to us? Who allowed you to sell the house? What are we supposed to do now? I took a sip of the iced watermelon juice from the table, watching her performance. My mom paused her crying and trembled as she asked, how do you still have food? Where are you? I pointed the camera at the hot pot on the table, showing beef, lamb, shrimp paste, tripe, along with fresh green vegetables and fruits. I'm at a hotel near our house. This hotel is great. Not only does it have food and drink, but the prices are also very affordable. I was just rescued and brought here. I'm sending you the location now. Hurry over. I hung up the phone with a smile and sent the hotel's location to my mom. I knew they would choose to come. After all, they had nowhere else to go. As for how they would get here, that was no longer my concern. My husband and I waited in the hotel lobby for 2 hours before we saw my mom's family arrive. They didn't know where they had gotten a large piece of plastic sheeting to hold over their heads, and they stumbled over with Myrna protected in the middle. Unfortunately, they were stopped outside the hotel. Among them, Myrna had the highest kindness rating at 48. My mom only scored 36. This family really didn't even meet the passing mark. My mom desperately waved at me. Honey, get mom a bottle of water. I'm dying of thirst. Talk to them. Let us in. I frowned in discomfort. But mom, I don't have any say here. Furious, my mom cursed. Then give up your and Ben's spots. Let me and Arthur in. Hurry. Why should I? I pointed to the large screen next to the door which clearly listed the reasons my mom wasn't allowed inside. Marital infidelity, murder of a husband, abandonment of daughter, plotting to kill her own child. You want to kill me too? No, that's not true. It's all lies. You know I love you the most. Please, let me in. If not, at least give me some food and water. I can't hold on much longer. I picked up an apple from the fruit plate and shook it at my mom. Give it to mom, sis, please. Give me something to eat. Arthur and Myrna reached out to me, but Anthony kept urging my mom. I threw the apple towards my mom, and as soon as she caught it, Anthony snatched it away. He devoured it greedily, finishing the apple in seconds. My mom screamed and lunged to grab it but was pushed to the ground by Anthony. Ah! She jumped up immediately from the hot ground. Dorothy, give your mom some more food. This time I shook my head. Now you see what kind of man you married. You killed my dad for him. You even wanted to kill me. I won't give you anything else. Just wait to die and atone to my dad. I turned away from their cries and left. That night, the system informed me that they had been sunburned to death outside the hotel, and their bodies had already been cleaned up by robots. I nodded and arranged to go to the hotel cinema with my husband to watch a movie.